Hello again. Welcome to part two of what is it that we actually do. So, in part one, I told you that I'm a massage therapist licensed in the state of Wisconsin and a little bit of what I do. And I wanted to delve a little deeper into what I touched on earlier is the fact that I am a medium, psychic, whatever kind of word you want to call me. That's who I am, which I've heard all sorts of stuff. Evidential medium. What I do? I talk to dead people. Yes, sixth sense, right? So let me explain a little bit more. There isn't, for me, there isn't a direct connection that I can talk to anybody's angels and guides and loved ones who have passed. It can be selective and it can be really fun. I am not 100%. No psychic is. We're human, right? Some of the information we're given or we feel we're given could be wrong. So, first of all, know that. Second of all, I have been doing this my entire life. And when I say my entire life, all but 2 years that, I was an infant, couldn't really talk, it wasn't happening. My family realized that I was strange, and I know my sister and my mom are snickering right now. When I was talking about the lady in my bedroom in the rocking chair, and this was an old house. I don't have many memories from this house, but not only was there no old lady, because the only old lady would have been my little grandma, and she was there, in physical person. They knew when she was coming in and out of the room, whatever. There was no rocking chair in that room. So that started the thought process, with my family that, yep, I have nanny's genes. My nanny, her name was Wilhelmina Augusta Maria Schmidt-Wertz. She had an uncanny way of telling people what was going to happen. If she dreamt it and told you, you kind of better heed it. After her husband passed, my great grandpa Bill, he used to come to her and they'd talk. And she, unfortunately, we're talking early 80s, late 70s, early 80s, was kind of considered crazy in her old age and never really shared much. I knew she went to a nursing home. I wish I would have been able to talk to her more. Fast forward all of these years, and I have had many uncanny I don't want to say interruptions, incidences where spirit has showed up. It really came to light for me shortly after high school. I was a nanny in Florida. I had gone to a church with a friend of mine. Our car died on the way getting to church. It was a Southern Baptist church. I am not a Southern Baptist. So it was fun for me to go to this church and just hear what was going on. Well, it was a lot of dancing and a lot of singing before the sermon even started. And I need to preface this too by saying it was raining in Florida a lot. It was a really cloudy, gloomy day. And we walked into this church, and this church was so bright. It was like massive sunlight outside, is what I thought. I thought it was very strange. I was with my friend and two of her friends, and the pastor was up finally doing his sermon. And in the middle of his sermon, he stopped and he kind of pointed in our general direction and said, "There's a message for you. Just know he's waiting for you at home." And we all kind of looked, right? We all did this. Not me. Well, it was for me. So at the end of service, we go out, we shake hands. The pastor said, "You do know that message was for you?" And I went, "I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not from here." Like, right? About 6 months later, I came home. I was in Florida. I came home to Wisconsin. A very good friend of mine had passed away about a year after we graduated high school. And now this is about 2 years after. And the cemetery was just down the road from my parents' house. So I said to my mom, I'm going to go see Shane. I wanted to spend some time with him at his grave. I wasn't able to do so at the time of his death. So I took the car, went and sat by his grave, and I saw him, like, plain as day, sitting by his headstone. And we sat and talked and talked and talked and laughed and reminisced. And it was amazing. And he said to me, I knew you'd listen if I came to the church. Like, Shane, what do you mean that I'd listen? He's like, I've been trying to talk to you since I left. I knew you'd listen if it came from the church. So he was the one that was waiting for me back home. Okay, freaky number one, right? Freaky number two, it's getting dark. I finally decide to go home, and my mom is kind of frantic, which, I mean, my mom gets a little, out there, but she doesn't ever really get frantic like this. And she's like, where were you? We looked for you, da, da, da. And I'm like, I was parked right by Shane's grave and talked to him. And I told her, I'm like, Mom, I got to see him. Like, he sat right there, and it was so joyful. And she said, there's no way you could have been there because we drove through. My friend Shane's headstone is right on the road, like going through the cemetery. There is no physical possible way that my parents could have drove through and not hit my car or seen me. There's no way. That's when I started believing there were things that I couldn't explain even more so. So we kind of chalked it up to we missed each other or whatever. Well, Shane has been one of my guides for 20 plus years. And I am eternally grateful that when I need answers, when I'm stuck, when I'm happy, whatever it is, I get to share that with him. And every time his birthday comes around, his birthday was just a couple days after mine, I celebrate with him. And I know that there are friends and family of his that probably are hearing this for the first time. And I want to be very respectful of the fact that our beloveds, as much as we want to hear from them, don't always come to us. My father, my brother, my grandfathers, grandmothers have all passed away. And it's very rare that I hear from them. I hear from other people's grandparents and loved ones, but it's very rare that my family comes through to me. So I do get to preface that. So long story short, again, we're at like 8 minutes. So thank you for story time. Over the last couple of years, 5 years, I would say, I've really been working at developing this skill and tuning into who's coming forward and being able to be of service for people who are stuck, who need confirmation, want confirmation, or just want to hear what Spirit has for them. This is probably one of the most exciting and amazing things that I get to do with my life. I don't predict the future. I am not a prophet. I am a psychic medium who can connect with loved ones, with spirit. But the other thing that I get to do is teach you how to do it. Like I said in my other video, my goal is to work myself out of a job. There isn't anybody on the face of this earth who can't do what I do. It's whether or not you choose to do it. So if you're stuck, if you would like to try to hear from spirit, if you would like to learn how to do it on your own, or if you just would like a reading, I'm your girl. I find that we all have biases and ideas of how it should work. There is no right or wrong way for intuitive readings to go. Sometimes I automatic write. Sometimes I use crystals. By the way, yeah, lots of crystals hanging around my desk and everywhere. Sometimes I use cards, pendulum, anything I can utilize to help get a message to someone. So how I teach people is very, very much like learning to ride a bike. It's practice. It's learning to trust yourself and the information that you're getting and being able to separate what you're getting from what you're thinking. And that's something that I work on consistently, especially when I'm working with clients. I sometimes question, and then I realize I can't make this shit up. So there is part 2 story time of what we do at Intuitive Grace. And I am so beyond thrilled that you've been with me this far. Again, if you're looking for answers, I offer my services in quite a few different ways. I do readings, which average about an hour. I do them in person here in my office, as well as remote. I do oracle card pulls. I do not do tarot, just because it doesn't speak to me. It's not my favorite, so we'll stick with what I'm good at. I also do spiritual mentorship. And what that is it's a 3-month opportunity for you to kind of have a psychic in your pocket, right? It equals out to about 3 hours of calls, an hour each month. And it can be, hey, Erica, I'm looking at this property and I want to buy it. What do you think? And we would tune in together and see what's coming up for you as far as the answers for that. So that's the spiritual mentorship. And then I teach how to do this. I coach how to do this. And that's all part of how I coach and what I coach as well. I am a spiritual life coach, a certified spiritual life coach. And that's what makes me unique, is I'm also an intuitive. So thank you again for sticking with me now for almost 12 minutes. And I don't know why I need to keep telling the time, but my guides are like, make sure you know the time. Much love to you, many blessings. And I'm honored that you're here. And I look forward to talking to you soon.